this is something I have to look forward to here in the next couple months.
Guten gardening, everybody. Well, I'm here in Florida on spring break. Yeah, as many of you probably know, I am a teacher, and so I get a spring break, a week off, and it's been fantastic. We drove from Wisconsin down to Florida, and in case you're wondering, it's about a 20-hour drive. Well worth it. But I'm down here, and we've found a couple of gardens. Now, we've done that a couple of times on our vacations where we found some garden spaces and we've been able to enjoy and explore. This garden I'm going to show you later on in the video. It's kind of an interesting setup, but I'm going to show you the reason I started this video, which is actually a hydroponic garden first.
Now, I said hydroponics garden, but there's actually so much more here in this garden beyond the hydroponics. There's also some container gardening happening. You see some potatoes in here, some corn growing. And the gentleman who runs this, who is in charge of all of the vegetation here, and you're going to hear his voice in just a little bit, but he sets all this up. He decides what to grow. You can see some kale here. This is actually some cilantro that's gone to seed in one of these pots. And I talked to this gentleman, and he is the example of what it means to be passionate about gardening. I'm going to let you hear his voice right now.
That's why I need this one. You see this one? That's why I need the seed from there.
Right, so you can just replant.
Can replant. So I need the sun from this one.
Now, I didn't let you hear his voice for too long. I asked him, he was so kind to have a conversation about everything he's growing in here, and he's quite knowledgeable. He's a gentleman from Kenya originally, but he's been here in the U.S. for quite a long time, and this is his garden. This is his job to maintain this garden spot. And you see the cabbage there, and here are the hydroponic units that he's using. He's got strawberries growing in here. He's got lettuce growing in here. Look at that beautiful red lettuce there. Doesn't that look fantastic? And beyond that, and beyond the lettuce and here I'm coming down to the carrots. He wanted to show me the carrots that he has growing there. And we're talking about March or late March in Florida when all of this lush greenery is there, and I'm thinking to myself, this is something I have to look forward to here in the next couple months. Now take a look at those strawberries. Don't they look so healthy? You know, I asked him, what nutrients are you feeding these hydroponic vegetables? Oh, before I say that, take a look at this lemongrass right there. But I said, what nutrients are you feeding these hydroponic vegetables? And he said, the only thing I'm doing is adding some native soil in there, and then I'm adjusting pH. He hadn't been adding any nutrients, and they are growing like gangbusters. There's Malabar right beside it. The Malabar spinach is something that I've been told we should try growing, but we haven't. All right, down here we've got some squash. He's got pumpkin in there. He's got onions. You see that? Again, some more of those beautiful, absolutely beautiful strawberries. And boy, did my kids benefit from those strawberries, because he was able to give us some of them. In the background there, you can't see it so well, but in the background there, he's got some more cilantro. Oh, there's an onion that's about to go to seed. And he'd been collecting those onion greens, and I'll actually get to that in just a little bit, from the other garden spot that I started this video at. But one of the things that was so interesting to me, oh, there's some tomatoes. These tomatoes are growing in containers, they're not growing hydroponically. But one of the things that was so interesting to me about this entire setup was this is front and center at this resort, right by where a ton of people go. And he said people stop by on a regular basis to see it. So he's creating this wonderful example for other people about growing in a spot that you would not expect any kind of garden to be. He's setting that example, and that's, I think, a wonderful example for young people, well, people young and old to see.
Look here.
Oh, they're
Can
beautiful.
you believe this? Look here.
Yeah, it's loaded. The beans are doing really nicely over there, too. I noticed that.
I harvest me. I took them.
Okay.
I eat a lot there.
Now, this is the sugar cane. He started this sugar cane from a piece that somebody threw out after eating it. Hey, if you've never tried fresh sugar cane, you need to try it. Somebody leave a comment and let us know if you've tried fresh sugar cane, what your thoughts are. Some more beautiful corn growing here. And I got in the background, that's some rosemary growing hydroponically. I did ask him what the type of hydroponic setup was that he had used or he was using. And so I've got a picture there for this too. We don't have that much experience with this type of hydroponics. This is some squash, and he said they were spraying pesticides locally and some drifted over and got on it. Hey, we don't mess with pesticides here, but that was his experience with that bit of gardening. That's where some of that, it looks like some of the plant dying back came from. But how amazing is this to go on vacation, to find a spot like this? Here they had laid out, you know, when they originally created this spot, he wanted to make it nice and clean for me. Some of the things that were growing in, he was growing most of these things now. A couple of things, the peppers he wasn't growing. But he was growing most of these vegetables in here, not really doing anything with microgreens, but that's fantastic. Again, you're in the middle of Florida, in the middle of a spring break, and there you see this kind of production. To me, I mean, I'm always going to get excited about the garden, but to me, that's incredibly exciting. Oh, and I wanted to show you this. This is a papaya, or papa, depending on what you call it, but a papaya tree growing right in the back there that he started from seed. Look at those beautiful green leaves, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's the beginnings of papaya. So when I say you've got somebody passionate, I want to mention one more thing. He told me that there have been about 6 or 7 people in there trying to get all this to grow. But whatever he's tried here has been successful. It's been the first bit of success that they've seen there with growing. And so they said to him, after he initially started with this job, took some time away, and they said to him after a while, we need you to come back. We've got to get this thing going. And it's just been fantastic. You can see how much he's harvested off of here. It's a harvest on a regular basis. So let's go back to that first garden spot I showed you. And I'm so glad I talked to him before I recorded this part of the video, because this is supposed to be a Seeds Bistro garden started in 2023 on Earth Day. And apparently they never really did anything with it after that one day. And so he is in charge of this entire space. So you see it has the different areas from the resort, the engineering department, the different departments there, accounting, etc. Well, he's the one that takes care of all this. They don't do anything with it, and he's doing a fantastic job. Each one of these raised beds is growing vegetables that he gives back to the resort. Look at these flowers on the potatoes here. Each one of these gives back when he harvests beans, when he harvests the tops off of the onions. You'll see some of that here in a second, where he's taking those onion greens off. Look at those, look at the bean plants here. There's potatoes on the corner. You've got some basil right here. It's just fantastic, full of life here. There was only one bed that didn't really have much of any life in it, and that was for the trainees. But he told me later on that he still had stuff growing in there. And I saw that a couple of days later that the seedlings were already starting to grow. And so it's not like any of these beds are going empty. And again, he's able to provide this additional food then back to their restaurants. Like the greens off of the onions here, he had just harvested a little bit earlier. And look down in here. He's regrowing some celery. Where have we seen that before, huh? So he's doing that in a couple spots in these beds. He said to me, I never leave these beds empty. That's the key. I'm always growing something. So I would see him throughout the day moving back and forth. By the way, I should have mentioned his name is Peter. He was the nicest gentleman, and you know, so excited to be able to talk about gardening. And that is a key. That excitement. Well, I'm excited when I hear other gardeners excited about gardening. But what do you think about this? Raised bed gardening, hydroponics, all of this happening, every single bit of it, here you see the training bed, happening in Florida in the middle of a very busy area. Oh, and one more thing, he also runs a monarch butterfly garden that he has set up there. 70, 80 butterflies right now. They've got lots of eggs laying out there, but he invited us over to see that as well. And we got to see all these beautiful monarchs. Eventually they get released. They have their babies. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? This is what you're looking for. I tell you what, I hope that this kind of video inspires you no matter where you are. If you're in Zone 5 like us, you're inspired for the upcoming season. If you're in Florida, I hope you're having a great season right now. But regardless of where you are, I hope this kind of video inspires you for this gardening season, because we want you to get out there. We want you to be growing regardless of the situation. And we want you to feel that same level of inspiration that Peter feels whenever he's growing there in Florida. Well, folks, if you enjoyed today's video, we hope you'll give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.